Alright guys, so Rimworld has just announced its possibly most exciting and highly anticipated update and DLC yet. It's called Rimworld Odyssey, and I'm here today to just kind of check it out and go over it with you guys on the day of its announcement. One thing I've noticed just right off the bat is that this update and DLC is going to have a lot of mods coming to vanilla features. So like Save Our Ship, a huge mod, is now going to be part of the vanilla game when you have the DLC. So that means you can make your own ships and use them as a portable base pretty much and travel around the planet. And they've even said that you can go outside the planet and travel to asteroids in space and even other planets. So that is super cool just right off the bat. Other like mods that I've noticed are now in here are a bunch of quality of life stuff too, and we will definitely be getting into that. So they begin talking about the new Save Our Ship kind of features that they've added, and they're calling it Gravships. So basically, like it says here, you can land anywhere, you can go hunting for treasure and scavenge forgotten grav tech, probably to upgrade this ship. You could even find exotic and rare treasure and weapons now in the update through these quests and all kinds of different adventures you'll be having, because it's called Rimworld Odyssey. So right here it says you start off with a small little ship with just an engine, a few rooms, and some thrusters, but eventually it develops into an entire mobile colony. And because of this, you'll be able to set up multiple colonies so much easier with this update, and you'll see even more reasons why as we go through it. So it looks like grav cores are a item that you'll need to find in order to upgrade and expand your ship. It says here, like, an idea is to live as nomads that move with the seasons of the planet. You could even kidnap people by taking off while they're still on board. Like, if a raider is boarding you, you can just steal them. And it says here, like, you can obviously create all kinds of crazy stuff, so that is pretty exciting to see. I'm curious to see what the community makes, and also the mod capabilities of this, because now that it's no longer a mod, we can add upon it, and all kinds of people can join in and add upon this little feature of flying ships around, so who knows what can come out. In this update, there is at least 5 new biomes that they've listed here. So one of them is the Glow Forest, which is a bioluminescent mushroom biome with psychedelic spores, and it's permanently dark. You have geothermal vents that block out the sun, and so normal plants can't grow here, and you'll only be able to grow fungi. And then there's the Scarlands, which are apparently war-torn remnants of once thriving cities, so that's pretty cool. It's kind of like a ruin biome. There's craters, there's vents that heat up and expel gas. Toxic rain constantly pours, which sounds kind of messed up in my opinion. So this is definitely a harsh environment to live in. And apparently there's lots of mechanoids here. Then there's the Grasslands, which sounds just like a nice open plains biome. It says there's not a lot of trees here, which makes sense, but apparently it is a rancher's dream. I can see why, and apparently also there will be a lot of wind for turbines, so that's pretty cool. Then there's also the Glacial Plains biome, which sounds probably like the coolest one to me. It has like a sort of prehistoric vibe because they got mastodons all around, which is like mammoths and stuff, and then you got like sort of like saber-toothed tiger type cats apparently, and there's going to be ice chunks that you can dig into, and apparently also buried frozen ruins there too. That's pretty cool. Then there's the lava fields, which is the 5th one they show, and they apparently constantly are changing due to the molten lava flow, and it comes in sudden bursts, so it can happen at any time. It'll destroy animals and buildings and kill people, obviously. Volcanic debris even crashes down from the sky. And the ash apparently makes it hard to breathe. So you'll have to build barriers and other means of defense for the lava, and wear face masks to protect the lungs. Then apparently all these new biomes have a landmark system which goes well together to create cool nature generations like cliffs, chasms, crevices, and valleys, which makes me wonder how they're going to handle like the Z levels of that. Are you going to be able to go down there, or is it just going to be visual, or what? Then we also are going to have stuff like islands, archipelagos, atolls, peninsulas, and fjords, which is super cool too. And you can even construct towns on the water because there's a new heavy bridge item in this DLC. So that makes living in oceans and around these new islands and stuff just that more cooler. Now you'll be able to apparently find abandoned colonies, which is another thing from a mod. I think it's called Real Ruins. So you can use those to repurpose into your own base and stuff. That's pretty cool. And now they get into what it's going to be like going out into space. So in space, apparently, you'll be able to find wrecked orbital platforms, you can explore direct satellites, and you can even mine on asteroids. But apparently, space pirates and scavengers will come and try to take the stuff from you and fight you. So that'll probably be like the Raider events when you're in space. And then you'll be able to find mechanoid wrecks, and they'll be obviously full of the mechanoids trying to kill you in there. And yeah, in space, there's no oxygen, obviously, just like the Save Our Ship mod, which is pretty cool. It's sub-zero temperatures. You have to make sure that in your Gravship, there's no breakages in the walls, because that will kill everybody. So, and because of that, you'll have to have power in the ship, oxygen pumps, and if they shut down due to the power, everyone will suffocate too. And so obviously you can build airlocks and vac barriers. And you can obviously wear astronaut suits so that your colonists can go out into the void of space. Now, apparently, Odyssey, the DLC, adds over 40 new animals. So that is a lot. There's going to be a lot of bird type of animals. Specifically, they talk about a crow stealing crops and stuff. Now, I'm not sure that swans, peacocks, flamingos, and quail, I know some of those at least were not vanilla, but I also have been playing with the vanilla animals mod, so I have a hard time distinguishing which animals are vanilla sometimes. But apparently, animals have a lot of new skills that can make them more useful, like cats and dogs will give your colonists more of a mood boost when they nuzzle them. They do it more often now, apparently. The predator animals you can tame, like wolves and big cats, you can send them to hunt specific targets. And other pets may apparently dig up minerals or any other random stuff, so that's pretty cool. And even animals that you can't train, apparently, such as the walrus, that's the example they give, can be implanted with a sentience catalyst, which allows you to control them. So you can use any animal now. And apparently the new mastodons have a loud trumpeting sound that can affect enemies and throws off their aim. And then there's a new alpha thrumbo, which has a loud roar that makes attackers flee in fear, which is super cool too. And they've added fishing, which was another mod, but now it's very cool to see that in vanilla. It's probably a really great source of food. And getting into some of the types of quests and stuff you can do is tracking down this mythical alpha thrumbo that we just mentioned. Apparently you'll be following its herd across the wilderness. You can raid ancient mercenary crypts where the soldiers have recently awoken, and you'll find a bunch of glitter-rolled supplies there, kind of like the ancient dangers. Then you can go to abandoned orbital platforms in those direct satellites, which will have lots of loot, but you could find fugitives holed up in there, so that's pretty interesting, something to look out for. Then there will also be pre-made asteroid mines, which you can go up to and find and mine their resources. And now there's a new unique weapon system, so you can find stuff like sawed-off shotguns or AI-assisted rifle scopes, and even fully golden revolvers. So there's like probably all kinds of different variants of weapons and attachments, so it's not just like the basic like one variant of each type now. There's something that's pretty cool here, a nice interesting bit of lore, sort of. It's probably something that's already somewhat known in Rimworld, but now we can actually see it for ourselves. So Far above the planet, the mech hive pulses with hate. Its mechanoids reproduce endlessly, and they will never stop attacking until every human on the planet is dead. When you reach the inhuman mind behind this terror, you face a choice. Will you destroy it and shut down every mechanoid for good, or take control of its power? So that sounds amazing. Like, you can actually go up into space, find the mechanoid hive mind, and destroy them all so you don't have to deal with them anymore. Or you can, take control. And now the rest of this is getting into stuff that's going to be free for everyone with the 1.6 update, which is actually available right now on the Unstable branch. If any of you want to try it, you can do that right now. You just got to go to the properties in Steam of Rimworld and then go to betas and opt into the Unstable branch. In 1.6, there's going to be a lot of performance optimizations apparently, especially for late game colonies that often struggle when there's all kinds of stuff on the map. Things like pathfinding and lighting have been multi-threaded, so it makes the whole thing a lot smoother. Now apparently the game loads up a lot faster, so with the base game and all of the expansions, it used to take 18.5 seconds, but now it's only 4.5 seconds, so that's a pretty big improvement. Something else that's a huge quality of life feature that they're adding in 1.6 is going to be the ability to sort of plan out your buildings by sketching them with different colors, so you can just kind of leave that for later and build upon things when you get the chance to, which is amazing because this is something that I usually just do without any feature, and then my colonists get distracted with trying to build a base, which is not a good idea. Now you can even make specific shapes. Like, you can use a tool to make a circle, so you don't have to go look up how to make a circle online anymore, and it'll just be a simple use of the tool and you drag it out to the size you want, and there you go. And apparently this will be done with other shapes too, so that makes building a lot more easy. Then there's a lot of quality of life changes for caravans. So basically the Make Camp Here mod, I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but there's a mod where in the middle of your caravan trip you can stop and make a camp just in case you need to take care of colonists or you just need to stop for any other reason. That is now vanilla, so you can, on your way to your destination, you can stop to take care of colonists if they're about to all die or something. So that is extremely helpful, because before, like, you'd know there's a way to save them, but it just wouldn't let you, and the whole caravan would be lost, so that sucked. And now the caravan tab is a lot more easy to load and unload stuff, and if you really need to go fast, you can order the caravan to depart immediately, which is amazingly helpful. I've always wanted to be able to do that. And another thing that was a mod is that you can just you can place blueprints over buildings that already exist to immediately have your colonists go and swap that out for a different thing. So say you have wooden walls and you want to upgrade them all to marble walls, so you can just build right over it and the colonists will upgrade it for you. And apparently they've improved the search bar, which will now search through colonist gear and any containers, which is amazing because, sometimes colonists will grab an item you need and you have no idea who's holding it. And you can also even search stuff on the world map. And they've reworked the map generation with a lot more features to make the world feel more organic and varied. So rivers now curve more naturally, and they carve walkable banks when running through rock. And larger rivers even will form canyons like we talked about earlier. Now there's going to be apparently some interesting more designs for rocks and stuff for different biomes. And speaking of those Z levels, they're going to have flying animals now, so like chickens, ducks, and geese and other birds can now fly. And basically what it looks like from this picture, there's not going to be actual Z levels, they're just going to be kind of in the air a bit, hovering above your colonists, which will probably make them harder to shoot and probably impossible to hit with melee attacks. But it still makes you wonder about those canyons and stuff, like, are you going to be able to go down there or what? Then we got the Scaria rework, which sounds very interesting to me and very helpful, because now the animals will look like they have Scaria instead of there just being a bunch of bunnies and you don't know which one is mad with Scaria. So now they'll look all messed up. They'll be red and all covered in sores, and they will actually look like you want to stay away from them. And if you get a wound from a Scaria infected animal, it will cause a Scaria infection, which once it reaches 100%, it will make that creature become mad with Scaria too, even humans, which is super cool. It's kind of like rabies. And then there's some changes to rooms, which sound amazing. Colonists are more happy with mediocre bedrooms and less upset by awful ones. So that's just going to make the picky colonists a bit less picky. And then medical beds contribute less towards making a room into a hospital, which is nice because, sometimes, like it says here, you'll have a whole room like barracks, or maybe even just like a dining room with a few beds in it, and you'll turn one into a hospital bed and then it makes the whole room into a hospital, which doesn't really matter, but it is kind of strange and annoying. So that is now fixed. And then they're also going to make it so that some production buildings now are the most efficient when they're in the correct room, such as like a research bench in a lab, which makes it more rewarding and ideal to build specific rooms that look better rather than just cluttering it all together. And some of the weapons have been upgraded and are more deadly now, so like the sniper rifle hits more often and fires faster, which is amazing. Charged lances reach further, revolvers and miniguns are more accurate, pillas hit harder and faster, charge rifles deal more damage and reach further as well, and LMGs shoot faster with a small damage boost. There's also going to be some UI improvements, so like on the world map there's a new jump to button, which is super cool. It lets you quickly jump to colonies, caravans, and quest locations that you have, so now you don't have to search around on the globe for them anymore. And you can now rename bills and use the new make default button for policies. And it says plus a bunch of other minor but convenient UI features. Then there's some new art and textures, like more beautiful water, and it reflects the sky and it ripples when it's walked through, so that's super nice. And there's also new desiccated corpses for big birds and filth textures for sandbags. And of course there's tons of little quality of life changes. A few examples they give are like quest joiners now show their best skill before you accept them, so it's not a total dice roll, which is amazing. Colonists always prioritize burying people in sarcophagi over graves, and they won't burn your medical supplies by default if you have a burn drugs bill, which is phenomenal. And they'll also move items out of the way before building doors, which is something that they have been needing to do for a while. And steam geysers are easily spotted now when placing geothermal generators. Another amazing quality of life feature. Then at the end, they have just a couple miscellaneous things like the paintable bridges, the ability to dress other people like prisoners, so you can now have like prison uniforms, and you can toggle special trees to stop them from being accidentally cut down. Just so much cool quality of life improvements and just so many features in this that a lot of us have been wanting. I know that for sure. This update is really going to change the game and already is more exciting to me than Anomaly or like any of the other ones. And don't get me wrong, I love all of them, but this is looking to be like it'll be my favorite. This has so much that I've like been wanting. The save our ship feature is huge, the new biomes, all of these quality of life things. It's just going to be amazing. So I'm glad I was able to catch this and go over it with you guys really quick. And yeah, let me know what you all think and what you're most excited for, and if there's anything else that you hope they'll be adding, because apparently in the weeks to come there'll be more blog posts about this. And yeah, the actual DLC and update will be coming in 1 month. So look out for that. It is very exciting. I love how they just announce this stuff like 1 month before its release. It's amazing. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all soon with more of this updates for Rimworld Odyssey. So stay tuned for that.